Jackie Kashian, Laurie Kilmartin.
Do you grieve, Laurie? Do you grieve?
What?
Do you grieve that it's
Jackie,
over?
I'm not. Oh, you're starting off so dramatically. I didn't know.
Well, I thought maybe that'll get us new listeners. It's no, because you did the Oscars. They were great. He did
Thank
great.
you. Thank
and
you.
It was super fun.
I was fully responsible for everything, and I accept your compliments exclusively.
The Martin
I
Scorsese
do not share credit. What?
The Martin Scorsese sketch, which I believe you wrote.
Well, Jackie, I'm happy to tell the story, or you can guess. How do we do it?
You're 5'9". No, you don't. Do it.
Cinema Streams was a kind of an ad parody that ran at the top of Act 6. There was 14 acts, and that was my pitch. So, and the premise was, what if we treated movie theaters like a brand new invention, and we lured people out of their homes to theaters by telling them that the movies. A theater is a building for movies. This is a place where you can go stream a movie on a gigantic television. You think you have a large TV, 85 inches. Well, AMC has a 900-inch television, right? And the idea was Conan would be like this Willy Wonka character, and the people would be dumb or, just like they were aliens from another planet and had never heard of it. So that was the initial pitch, and then we all just started piling in on jokes and, everything. And then we got the script together, and then we had a real director and a real budget from ABC. And we shot it at the Grove, at the AMC at the Grove.
Oh, wow.
Morning.
That's real.
When I walked in, there were like at least 40 people working on it, putting up.
Oh my God.
Massive lights, I'm sure there's a name for these. I know there is, but I don't know it. There's these massive square lights, like the size of a roof almost,
Yeah.
And, of course, we had professional actors, and it wasn't just the other writers.
Right, they cast it.
Yeah, they had a casting director, and hold on.
That's actually disappointing because then you could have been in it, or somebody else could have.
Okay.
That's fine.
And then, it was really great. It felt like when people, when they, get up and they thank somebody for an award at the Oscars and they mention everyone else, and you're like, it couldn't happen without all these people. And you're like, yeah. And then I realized, oh yeah, I get it now. Like I had a little seed, and then had it just been me, like, okay, Laurie, you shoot it. It would have sucked, right? And all these professionals jump in and they all put their little polish on it. And then it comes out, being really funny and looking great. And then we were out to, I had pitched that Martin Scorsese was in it. I mean, I was like, it's the Oscars, let's dream big. But he was in New York. So he recorded that little sting on his iPhone for us. And when he said he was going to do it, I'm like, I don't. What do you mean? Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that's a way to film. It's not like how you watch it, right?
Yeah.
But when he, you never know if someone's going to actually do it, or if they get it in on time or whatever. So I didn't want to count on it, but then he did, and it was so funny. And the way he just slammed the door at the end, we kept that in, and and then I was so worried because then I showed it to my son. Right when it's finished, right?
Right.
And he's like, I don't get it. What do you mean? And I was like, oh, what? Fuck, you don't get it? Now I realize he's one of the people in the script who doesn't understand why you need to go to a building for movies, right? And I was like, but at first I was panicking. I'm like, it needs a setup. We need to establish that people are not going to movie theaters. And this is a solution to that, right? And it was decided, I don't think we need a setup. And we played it at a rehearsal, one of the Oscars rehearsals, and it killed. And I was like, oh, of course. Everyone here knows the problem. You don't need to explain it to them, right? And it did really well at the Oscars, too. Like they laughed early. They laughed during the explanation. And I was like, oh, they're getting it immediately, which was really cool. Yeah, so that was really fun. It wa- there it there were so many challenges with this. For, like Conan took the gig, right? And then he has these personal tragedies where his parents die back to back, 3 days apart, right? So that's just, yes, they were older. They were both in their 90s. It wasn't a shock, but it's a shock. It's a huge shock. And to have a double, like, it's, unparalleled in a way. And then the fires started. So like when I go back and look at our first batch of jokes, it was all about dealing with the fires and Watch Duty app. And they were at the time, they were like, do we cancel the Oscars? And it's like, what are we, what's happening, and how do we handle it? And then people start to move away emotionally from the fires, and as people do when something hits, it's for 2 days, it's like it's the only thing you think about, and then the news cycle moves on and stuff like that. And then the Carla Sophia stuff happened, and it's like, the tweets she tweeted were like so ugly and gross, and they were about the winners of the Oscars in 2021. Michelle Yeoh and Daniel Kaluuya. Like, it was like racist shit about Oscar winners. And now she's nominated, but it was weird because she was nominated, and then the tweets came out, and the voting started. It was like, well, she's probably not going to win. That would be really awkward. But do we deal with it? Is she going to come? So we didn't know for a long time if she's going to come. She didn't go to any other award ceremony. So it's like, is this a person we can ignore? And then they're like, no, she's coming. She's confirmed. And it was just like, we didn't know. It was, you don't know how are you supposed to hit this person. It's not a what they, I don't know. The mood was, we're like, online, it seemed like everyone hated her, and it was the only thing they would think about. And then the day of the Oscars, it's so overwhelming. The building, the production is incredible, especially, I don't know how it looked on TV, but being there, I was like, God damn it. These are like professional, event, not promoters, but presenters, right? The spectacle of the whole thing was incredible. And she's the last thing on anyone's mind, It was really weird. And then the Pope gets ill, right? We got a ton of conclave jokes, and it's like, oh, the fucking Pope dies before Sunday. We can't do our conclave joke, right? So then we had contingency jokes if the Pope dies. We have a whole bunch of those. How we deal with that? Do we deal with it? Do we have to mention it? Because the movie Conclave is about the Pope dying. I can't hear you, Jackie.
You can't hear me? Oh, well, that's probably right.
It was blessed. I was like,
there was a blessed
letting me speak? No, her mic was turned off.
Is she listening? No, I had no, yeah. When I think about the actress, I have never heard of her. I'm not on Twitter.
Right.
And it happened weeks ago. So I think even more so than the fires, even though it was Oscar related, I think that it was forgotten pretty quick. No, except for by the people who shouldn't forget it, right? And then the conclave thing, you can use those. Maybe you can use some of those jokes later because he will die.
Yeah, but no, Jackie.
Yeah.
No,
you didn't. All right.
It's either the Pope dies or the jokes about the Pope dying die. One or the other, right?
Well, then later when he dies, you write whole new jokes. You got extra jokes. You got jokes.
We would only mention it because Conclave was nominated. If Conclave hadn't been in the picture, no one would even be talking about the Pope dying or not at an awards show. That was the whole thing.
But Catholics, I'm telling you. And what? Okay.
What are you telling me? You're not Catholic.
No, but I have taken communion, so I'll probably go to Catholic hell for a heartbeat, because both my mother and my stepmother were Catholic, and they both brought me to church a couple of times and said, "Just take communion."
No one's checking your credentials. You don't have to bring like a vaccine card to church. Say, I got confirmed.
some people do. So, but whatever.
Mhm.
But it sounds very. It did look super shiny and beautiful,
Mhm.
and he was hilarious. So I was
Yeah.
happy. Yeah,
He
I was
killed.
so happy for him. He killed.
killed. It was really fun to be backstage, and you know, after the initial mono, it was like, ah,
At
you know,
least,
he did great. The jokes we did do about Carla hit. And it wasn't too. It wasn't like an ooh kind of thing. It was like it was really good. It was like showbiz,
yeah,
and he had a song and a dance. To have to remember all, to do your jokes and then do a song and a dance is huge. It's a lot.
right. Yeah.
And then a couple acts later, he had to do 3 messages in other languages: Spanish, Hindi, and Chinese, or excuse me, Mandarin, right?
Okay.
And the Mandarin message changed like the night before. And so he had to
Okay.
rememorize it all phonetically.
Of
We just
course.
changed the jokes. And it was just like so much to remember.
Yeah.
Crazy. So
And
much to
I
keep in
like
your
the
head.
firefighter thing. The firefighter thing.
Oh, that was great. That was I think Smeigel's idea. And then Berkeley Johnson, who was one of our writers, sort of produced it. And it was just jokes, and that's the other thing is like the premise was Conan isn't brave enough to tell these jokes, so we're going to have firefighters come out and tell them.
Right.
But
I thought they'd be darker.
well, you know what?
I'm
So
sure they
we.
did start.
But believe me, they started way darker and way meaner. But then the fire department is like, these are our people in uniform. And no, they're not going to say this and this and this. So we had to do version, like mean light, but
Right. The meanest. Yeah.
I mean, there were you would have loved what we wanted them to say.
Oh, I'm sure. The first guy stuck the landing.
He did. He did a good job. Yeah.
He did a good job. And then the last joke was just a joke about Conan, which I think is a safe
It
bet.
was a good way to get out of it. And
Yeah.
and at that point we didn't have many jokes that they deemed acceptable that were still within the premise. So
Right.
but
Right.
yeah, they did great, I think everyone, and then the reviews are universally, I think, really good.
That's great. That's great.
So
I liked his Russian joke, and then I liked that he was lawyered up. That was funny.
Yeah. It was good. It was really fun, and it was so fun to be back in a room. I haven't been in a writer's room since March of 2020, hanging out with other writers physically in a room, throwing jokes out.
Yep.
And it felt so good. We all felt like that. We were all like clinging to each other, like this is so wonderful.
That's so great.
So that was fun. And, the first couple months we were at Conoco's headquarters in LA. And then we went to the Dolby last week. My parking space was between Brian Kiley's and Carol Leifer's.
Nice.
And it's nice to be able to park in the Dolby is a secret parking level P1.
Yep.
And I just thought it started at P2, and I usually don't get a parking space till P5, right? You're just going down and down. It's like, oh, there's a secret right turn I can make and park with the elites. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fun. It was it's a nest. It's a labyrinth below the stage, and just trying to find a production studio or our offices every day was like I got lost every single day. Very
right, because you were working in that building and very few bathrooms. Okay,
and Saturday night we were there till like 12:30 at night.
At least you didn't have bathrooms like Hidden Figures where you had to go 2 buildings over.
Yes,
because there's no women's room.
Right.
In that case, it was black. People of color. Anyway,
thank you, Jackie.
I don't know why I thought I would explain that.
You brought that in to this story, but I guess
because that's what I thought of when you talked about that there weren't very many bathrooms. Okay. I can explain why I said it, but it's not as fascinating as you might think.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
no, Jackie, definitely let's interrupt my Oscar story by saying at least there wasn't segregation in Jim Crow. Yeah, I mean, sure. That's pretty much every story told from 1965 and above. At least there was no segregation. Yeah, good point. Hey, at least there was no Holocaust happening. At least there was an Auschwitz next door to the Dolby as well. That's good too. Let's see. I don't know why she's putting her mic up. Are you just taking it away from your own mouth? It's turned off. She's censoring herself, gang.
There you go. I'll let you have it.
Let's see. Yeah, so we were like in this windowless room, and it felt like it always felt like it was either 2 p.m. or 1 a.m. Like you could not tell what time it was. We were just
right.
rearranging jokes, and then the joke order. Oh my God, that was crazy. And there was one, like, I wasn't trying to get. You can't help but get precious about your jokes, right?
Right.
But one of my
bet.
jokes was causing a problem in the mono, right? Like it was too mean to go early, but it was also it was all part of a general theme of what the show, like we want to general the show and then we get to the actors and the movies and get very specific, right? So it was too general to go later. And so we just kept moving it around and someone's like, oh, I don't know, maybe we lose this one. And of course, my stomach's like, but I'm like, no, it's my joke.
Take one for the team.
It's okay if it's hurting the mono. Let's take it out. And we took it out, and then that made our lives a lot easier.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, but even then, it was like, and then we had 2 wife jokes back to back. That was the Antonia Banderas joke, and the joke about I'm still here, which both used the word wife in them, and we didn't want them back to back, but somehow we separated them, and then they ended up getting back to back again. It was like, wait, how the fuck did that happen? And it was constantly rearranging the tiles, yeah, and it was also, I think, from TBS, we're used to things being a lot more nimble. But they're like, it's the Oscars. They need to know in advance if things get, jokes get moved and taken out and all that stuff. So it was a lot of, we got to figure this out tonight at midnight.
Right.
And then come in tomorrow and, whatever. So there was not much sleep in the last couple days. And
right, I bet.
It's so strange. When you look at the few words we were all hovering over, all of us, our brains, all these people looking at, what in the end is like 40 sentences. Just
right.
And
right.
just going, is this, what's the segue? How do we get into this one? How do we get out of that one? Can this follow this one? Is, all that stuff and all the arguments.
Wow.
Oh my God. I mean, there were, everyone had a slightly different opinion about where everything should go, and so we had to talk down every argument. Yeah, it was very interesting. It was it was a version of what we did every day times 100, because the stakes were so much higher and so many more people were watching and judging.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And were you just on the wings? Were you all just on the wings every time you went out?
Yeah, we had to do black tie. So you either got a tuxedo, they had women's tuxedos, or I rented something from Rent the Runway, but I didn't like it when I got it. It just didn't completely fit. And I didn't. If I ever do this again, I'm really going to make sure what I'm wearing that night is comfortable. I didn't try on the tux until I had to try it the show day. And I was like, oh, this isn't that comfortable either. And the shoes I picked were like fine for 15 minutes. And then minute 16, I was in pain. And I was like, fuck. And
7 hours later.
This is what I'm committed to for not only the whole Oscars, but then there's a party afterwards, the governor's ball. Huge party, right? So my son was my plus one.
That's
right?
neat.
So he had to get a tux too. And so we rented one at this place at the mall. I have to return it today. And then he went with Dan Cronin. I don't know if you remember, but there is a joke about the new James Bond being the senior VP of global affairs at Amazon. And then they cut to a photo of a guy. That's Dan Cronin. He's one of our writers.
Okay.
He's a comic too,
Yeah,
but he's one of our writers. And so he lives near me. And so my son went with his wife. She took him because I was like, he's going to get lost.
Yeah.
And he does, but then they took a picture before they left, and his wife is, she looks incredible, and they look like they're going to prom. I'm like, why do you look younger than my son? Dan was like, I think there's problems in my marriage, Laurie. And he showed me this picture, and they look like they're going to prom. That
was so adorable.
So
that's just so cool.
Yeah, he sat with all the wives, and then there was one other and a husband up in the +1 section. And then so Flo won the Oscar. Have I talked about Flo on our pod?
I think you mentioned it, but
it's an animation from Latvia. It has no dialogue. It's incredible. I think it's on Max right now. I totally recommend watching it. Okay. And everyone thought it would be The Wild Robot or Inside Out 2, because there's some big studios behind those. And Flo won the Oscar, and my kid was like so happy. So then we go to the governor's ball afterwards, right? Right. And that's just 5 flights up at Lowe's. Or 5 flights.
Okay.
It's all happening in the same place the Kookaburra is, the Kookaburra Lounge. Like it was one floor up from the same building. Yes.
Oh,
so
I love that.
Up there. It's just wall to wall tuxedos and beautiful dresses in this place. And so my son and I start looking for the Flo people, because we heard they were there. One of the other writers was like, oh my God, those guys, I just saw those guys. Right. So, so we're looking, and there's one of the Flo animators is really tall with kind of wild woolly hair. So we were just looking for like that kind of head. Right. Couldn't find him. Walked all around, and my feet are killing me at this point. But I'm like, it's my son.
He would love to meet the Flo people.
We have to find these people. And so we stumbled upon Coleman Domingo from Sing Sing, and he was surrounded by people. But Coleman Domingo, I first discovered him watching Fear of the Walking Dead with my son. He was a lead character in Fear. He was great, right? And he's a great actor. And all of a sudden, he's just, the last couple of years, he's transitioned to movies. His career has gone to movies, right? So he was incredible in Sing Sing. He did not win Best Actor, but he's an incredible dresser. He's a gay man who he has it all together. It's like, wow, this is incredible. So he was standing a couple like my son's like shaking, right? Because I forget his character.
It's the guy from the Fear of the Walking Dead.
We watched this guy for like 7 seasons or whatever. And so he had too many people around him, and it's like, you can't just burst into a circle, right? So like, okay. No. So we took pictures of Coleman behind us, those kind of dumb selfies. Then we're walking around again. We're looking for the Latvians, right? And then I pull up the Getty Pictures, has their picture because they won. And we see that we're like, all right, we got to memorize this guy's face, the tall guy, right? He's got crazy hair and a beard and a mustache. And then he walks by holding an Oscar. And he's just looking down. It's like it's car keys or something, right? Right. And I'm like, that's him. I hold the phone up to my. I'm like, that's him. And my son's like, no. I'm like, let's do it. And so he's kind of moving fast. I don't know where he's going, but we're following him like insane people, right? And no one else is talking to him or recognizing him. And he's not parading the Oscar. He's just holding it like almost at hip level. It almost looked like he took it from somebody who doesn't want to be discovered, right? And so finally, he's forced to stop because a bunch of people, and I'm like, excuse me. And he turned around, and then he and my son started talking, and he let my son hold his Oscar. And
I saw the photo.
He told him, most of our animators were in their 20s, and he said it's really cool for young animators in independent studios. And he goes, maybe you'll be having a hold on Oscar one day. Maybe you'll be here one day. And my son's like, his eyes are like saucers, right? So that was really cool. And
That
then,
is.
we hung out with the writers at that point too. Saw Fernanda Torres tried to from I'm Still Here, which won Best International Picture.
Right.
Incredible movie, incredible.
Mm-hmm.
She was nominated for Best Actress, didn't win. I would pick her over Mikey Madison, who was terrific, but I would pick her.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she was like, she looked at me like, I see you, but I have 18,000 people. And I was like, you know what? I think she
Let
probably
her.
knows I was about to say, I love you. You were great. So we just moved on. But one of the other writers did get to talk to her, and she said that Fernanda grabbed her hand, and it was like, thank you. So, like, was just really cool. So I was like, I'm
Yeah.
going to pretend I had that experience too, because
Uh-huh.
I was close enough. Then we're going back in, and we turn around. Guess who's 2 feet in front of us? Coleman Domingo again. I'm like,
Oh.
we are fated to be 2 feet away from Coleman Domingo. And
At all times.
yes. So we did not get his attention, but that was kind of cool.
That is cool.
After we found the flow guy, I was like, my feet hurt so much. I can't bear this anymore. I have to go.
Right.
And it was a school night.
Mm-hmm.
He had school the next day. So we left a little bit early. I think the other writers hung out a little bit. But yeah, it was really magical. And to see the reviews and read the reviews and read the love for Conan, knowing how much work he put into this and how much turmoil there was. Also, he's been living in a hotel since January 6th, I guess. That's when the fire started.
Right.
His house wasn't burned, but so many houses around him were, and the fire damage, the smoke damage.
And you can't live.
Yeah.
It's like,
he's in a nice hotel, but it's still not your home. So you're still working all day and then going to not your home, right?
Yes.
It's not great. And to have all this stuff going on, and then the Oscars themselves having these weird controversies with the Carla tweets and that maybe the Pope dying, just extra added degrees of difficulty, say in a comedy, right? It was a lot. And to see that he totally pulled it off, that he, what a showman, to go from, the other thing was normally the Oscars start with a cold open with the host, right?
You're right.
So because of the fires, the Oscars decided to start with Ariana Grande, Cynthia Erivo, 2 of the greatest singers, modern day singers, singing live about Los Angeles, like heartfelt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So not only he has to follow 2 divas singing about our shared trauma with comedy.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Follow that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that was another thing, like, oh my God, like how much more difficult is this going to be made? Right.
Right.
And I think, what we ended up going with, that wasn't my pitch at all, the substance thing. I thought it was great. Like they did an incredible job, and hearing them in rehearsal, like I was literally 20 feet from both of them while they were just singing in rehearsal. And I'm like,
wow,
this isn't a bananas experience. Right.
Right. I was recording all day, so I didn't get to see. I've only got to see it as chopped up. Right.
Have you seen The Substance yet?
No, and I haven't seen any of the movies, though. I will say, for Best Actress, I hadn't seen any of the movies.
Yeah.
And I wanted that woman to win.
Mikey?
The one that, no, not Mikey. The one who didn't
Fernanda?
win,
Demi Moore.
No, the Brazilian woman.
Oh, Fernanda Torres. Yeah.
Yeah, Fernanda. Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be streaming soon. It's incredible.
Just by literally the 20-second clip they showed, I was like, no, she should. This is, and they showed 20-second clips of all of them.
Right.
So, and it's not that Demi Moore wasn't amazing, and everybody looked like they stuck the landing.
Yeah.
But I think the just that scene where she's like, no, we're gonna smile in this picture. I was like,
she's playing a real woman. It's a true story. And then afterwards they show the pictures of the actual people that all the actors were portraying. They looked exactly like them.
Oh,
Now,
really?
Fernanda's mother is also, they're like, this is like a acting family in Brazil, like the Redgraves of Brazil, right?
Okay.
Fernanda's mother was nominated for an Oscar in the early 80s, I think, right?
Oh, wow.
Fernanda's mother played the character as an old woman in the movie. So
Oh.
I was like, wow, they aged her really well. No, that's her actual fucking mom, who's also an incredible actor. It's a great film, right?
That's awesome.
Shoot, what else? What were we talking about right before that? Oh, so the substance, it was so ridiculous. It was so silly. And the look on Conan's face when he popped out of Demi Moore's back, which is the thing that happens in the substance.
I did see that.
It was such a great mood changer, you know, and it really worked. And I felt like everyone was like, all right, we're in for comedy. But what I did feel like was during the cold open, which is now just shots of LA, I think people thought Conan was going to pop up during it, you know, because that's normally what happens. And I just wish you could have said, hey, this is not us. We're coming on in like 5 minutes. So just hang tight and enjoy the drama and enjoy these voices.
Those two singers.
They were incredible. They were
extraordinary.
One rehearsal. A lot of people had stand-ins and didn't do any rehearsals. I did see one rehearsal with Lisa, Doja Cat, and Ray, and that was good. It was just weird to just be 15, 20 feet from these people, and it's not a big event. Like they're all dressed up because it's dress, but you know, we've got our clipboards or whatever, our phones, and they're like, I'm like, that's Doja Cat.
It's rehearsal day. Yeah.
That's so crazy. And then Margaret Qualley, who was the James Bond dancer, there was a tribute. That's the other thing. Like, find the mood of the crowd at the time. It was different than what we anticipated, right? Like, there was a James Bond tribute to the music, and it was like, So I had a joke about how Conan, you know, when he was, 15 and going to see Octopussy, I couldn't wait for the music, you know, something like, why are we celebrating the music? And then when you get to the Oscars, it's like, no, that joke actually shits on this whole little idea that they're doing. They brought 3 singers in. We're not going to do it. A lot of stuff where you're like, of course a comic's going to make fun of this. And then the show starts and you're like, oh, we're not going to make fun of this in front of these people. It's not going to work. They're excited by it.
Right. It's just mean, and it's not going to work. Yeah.
So a lot of your first instincts as a comic, you got to like shelve a little bit, you know, and not and even like when I was there, it's like, oh, this is really cool. Like when I read about it, it sounded like the music of James Bond. But then when you see it, Margaret Qualley comes out. She's she was nominated for Best Supporting in The Substance, right? She's a dancer. She's Andy McDowell's daughter. You know Andy McDowell, the actress from that's her daughter. She's an incredible dancer, I guess. Like I didn't know that. But she danced the James Bond theme. I was like, oh my God. She was at all the rehearsals. She was like fucking on it working, you know?
Right.
So when you get there and you see how much work everyone puts into it and how cool it is, you're like, okay, my little joke.
Right. The snarky.
Yeah.
There's no reason for it. Yeah.
So, you know, if I get to do that again, I want to just remember that kind of stuff doesn't play in that room. And
going in.
Yeah. And when you get to there, you're like, oh, I wouldn't do this joke now. I wouldn't write this joke now, knowing what I know. Because this is really cool. It looks great. I mean, maybe from home you were like, but you wouldn't. It's still within the, you know, the concept within the house of the idea that you have these 3 really, you know, famous singers coming out singing and a great dancer. They did a great job.
Yeah. You're in the fishbowl. You can't make fun of the castle.
I know.
And hope the other fish to laugh.
I had one joke because they had just done a 60th. 60th anniversary tribute to James Bond 3 years ago, right? And this is like a 63rd tribute to the music.
Wow.
It was like, it's a weird number. And then I said, we're just going to keep doing James Bond tributes till one of the James Bond actually shows up because we didn't have any James Bonds there. But again, that's funny if you're just in one situation, but not there, right?
Right.
Oh, the audience finds out there's no James Bond. Like all these things are like, oh yeah, you can't assume they know this and whatever. It was
Yeah.
interesting to just be writing jokes that work in the room or work with people who know all the details, and then you go, but is the audience going to know? Is he,
Yeah. Yeah. The picture's so big that you're playing to. Can we take a quick break?
No.
Can you talk about our comic of the week?
Oh, yeah, I just found her on Instagram. She's really funny. She's Australian. Her name is Lizzy Who, Lizzyhoo, and she's an Aussie gal. Very very funny. I watched her clips a couple weeks ago and put her on our list, and I didn't watch again this morning, but I just would like to say she's funny. Her name is Lizzy Who. She has a special on Amazon Prime called Who Cares?
Oh, cool.
HOO Cares. And, if you're in Australia, you can check her out live. And if you're everywhere else, you can check her out on Amazon Prime.
Yep.
That's
and what's her handle?
Lizzy Who, Lizzyhoo.
Catchy.
Yeah.
Good for her. That's great.
Mhm.
Another comic of the week down.
I like how they like to spell Lizzy with a Y down in Australia. You know,
Huh.
we're
Did you
more
drive?
of an IE. Yes, I drove to the Oscars. Yeah, Jackie,
Yeah,
I had
because you have a parking space.
Yes, why would I not drive?
I don't know if they sent a car.
No.
All right.
No, I had my P1 parking space. In fact, my my little placard's good for one more day. I feel like going there and just parking because I can for another day. But why would I go there?
No.
Yeah.
Sephora? No.
No. I
Seems like a
returned
lot.
my text yesterday, and I have to return my son's text today. Yeah.
That's
but
awesome.
again, note to self: if I do this again, anything like this, I definitely want to be incredibly comfortable in the black tie part. You know,
Right. You gotta try on, make sure the outfit works from head to toe.
beforehand.
Yeah.
And make
Yes.
sure, honestly, almost any clothing, if any clothing is uncomfortable, as long as my feet are comfortable, I can handle tightness or something, you know.
Right.
But
Right.
when it starts at the feet for me, and if the feet are uncomfortable, and they were, I'm in hell. It also affects how I can pitch jokes during the show. You know, like we were pitching stuff as thing. You know, we also had a whole bit. We have jokes if Honora's in the lead, if Brutalist is in the lead, if they're all tied. If we have all these contingencies, and someone's keeping track of who's doing what. And pitching new stuff, So I was in so much pain. It was kind of hard to focus, like I wish I could have on that part of it.
Yeah, so that was the only downside. But
Mhm.
that is so cool.
And then Mick Jagger came out, right? And here's the thing: when you're backstage, you're just feet from these people. Like we were cordoned off behind curtains so Conan could be, not bothered by everybody. He was like looking at prompters, seeing it, at the end of each act, come back in. What's next? What are my next jokes? What am I doing? Da da da. And then he went out to talk to Mick Jagger, and I just peeked outside of our curtains, and there's Mick Jagger. So tiny. It's so bizarre when all that's going on.
Yeah, if you're anywhere near that, it sounds bizarre. Yeah.
And my son is there. He doesn't know who Oprah. He kind of is aware of what Oprah is to culture, right? She's sort of like just a reference to kids because they didn't grow up watching her. She's like this person that's always been famous since they were born, his age, right?
Right.
Mick Jagger, I mean, that's on me because I didn't really introduce him to a lot of music. But he's like, yeah, I think I heard of the Rolling Stones. And I'm like, well, it's so weird that someone that you in your head is like, how Oprah is to them. They're just like, yeah, that sounds familiar. And I just go, in 25 years, you're going to realize how many legends you saw in person tonight. He's like, all right, I get it. But
Yep.
Yeah.
But he was psyched about the flow guy.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And that'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And now the post Like I wish we were just taking a couple days off and starting another one. What's next? What's a new
Right.
award show? Let's do one. We had so much
Yeah.
fun. It was so much fun.
That's so cool.
There was stress. There's always
Yep.
stress with comedy and not enough good jokes. You always have that feeling. And will this work and all that? And but it was really, really fun. The best part was hanging out with everybody, hanging out with Conan. We just laughed a shit ton. And I was so lucky to have that job for so long. And I was lucky to have a little version of it for 2.5 months.
Yep.
Not enough money to get health insurance again, but
Boo.
well.
Yeah, you need something. You got to bump that.
I wish
somehow.
the Writers Guild would come up with a way for us besides Cobra, because the industry has changed. So many writers are losing their health insurance,
Right.
because there's hardly any jobs. And I wish there was a way for them to come up with a way for us to keep paying for it without
without having to use some third party.
It's going to be $2,000 a month for me.
Right.
When mine runs out.
Oh my gosh. Right. For you and him, right?
For me and my son, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how much it is, I think, for us, Andy and I.
It's 2,000?
1,800, I think. Yeah.
God.
We gotta grind it out. We gotta
know.
And my whole thing is, when Andy wanted to do it, I was like, we don't need insurance.
What?
I'm a comic. Yeah, I've never had insurance before I met him. Yeah.
Do you know,
it was,
that was just luck? I mean, anything could have happened to you when you didn't have insurance.
I had the invincibility of youth.
I know.
Right now I have something happening in my hip that I don't approve of.
Right.
And I want to get a measles shot. I got to get a booster. I got to get a measles booster, quite honestly.
Right.
Because I don't want measles. And I know when I was a kid, nobody asked if you were going to be vaccinated. I swear to God, South Milwaukee Public School System just lined us up and said, pull up your shirt sleeve, jab, 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 jab. Now, next class, reading. So off to third grade.
All of our parents knew people that had been disfigured or
they had the smallpox
been put into an iron lung from polio. Like they all had a connection. They're like, thank God that's over. And now this generation doesn't, and they're fucking stupid.
Right.
Oh,
There's
God.
trouble. Well, do you want to tell people here in the middle, or should we close on our dates? Do you want to close on our dates?
Let's close on our dates. That way they can turn it off, because they're not going to come to live shows.
I went and saw Guy Branum's solo show. Sort of the first iteration of that.
What's it called? What's it about?
Be Fruitful.
Oh, okay.
And because he's gay.
He's gay.
No,
he's a writer for Hacks, and so he just got an Emmy. I think he's gotten several Emmys now.
Yeah. He's a freaking delight.
Yeah.
And he just did The Dork Forest about the Byzantine Empire. The guy is, I swear to God, there isn't a room that I could name offhand where he would not be the smartest guy in the room.
I know.
So he's genuinely, and, but he talked about, it opened with this very funny thing about solo shows and what they are and what his isn't.
Yeah.
And then it had, a bunch. It was really funny. It was really funny. And he has so many different skill sets that he had a PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Which I was psyched about, because it's always nice to look at a picture.
A separate skill set is running a PowerPoint while you're on stage is its own skill set.
Right. I think you need to have possibly a law degree to be able to do that. And he does.
I hope
so.
He deserves to give himself health care because he can run a PowerPoint during a set. That's a business. That's like an industry union job, I think.
Oh, I think so. It's wasn't there, to go back to the Oscar thing and talking about the sort of the crew. Wasn't it right after lockdown? There was just a lot of more people acknowledging the crew than ever before. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess
and it's it's so, you couldn't do it. I mean, it wouldn't look anywhere near like what television looks like
Yeah.
if without all of these people.
If you if you watch the Oscars, look at the backdrops are so beautiful. They in person they're stunning. They're like these huge flags or strips, right? Gigantic, like long
tapestries?
rectangles. Yes.
Yeah.
And then the images they project, they look like they're painted on these strips and then they just disappear. I don't know how they make them look like that. And if you look at Conan's musical number, there's 3 Conans, strips of Conans, and his eyes are moving. They look like weird puppets.
So they're screens.
Yeah.
So essentially they're projecting onto these.
Yes, they're PowerPoints.
Yes. That I will
stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is. I was home and I took my dad. So my father consistently has asked me why I don't play the Indian casino in Milwaukee. And
Jackie, why?
Why don't I? Well, I saw that, I forget, it wasn't Rory Scovel, but I thought it was Rory Scovel. And I'm like, hey, Dad, I'm going to go look at the room at Potawatomi. I'm going to go see if I can get a glimpse into what the setup is and see if I would want to do it.
Yeah.
And because there's plenty of other options in Milwaukee. I love the Laughing Tap.
Yeah.
That one time somebody was sick or died and I got to do the Milwaukee Improv. That was nice.
I think they were sick. They didn't die, did they?
No, I don't know. They never did tell me. But they have also not rebooked me.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure you're coming back. They love you.
Gotta be. Right. The Improv?
Oh, the Improv. Oh, yeah.
Oh, right.
No, you're not
no, Laughing
back to the Improv. Yeah, sorry.
Right, that was a fluke. That was a FLUKE.
Jackie, you're a woman. You're not coming back to that Improv.
I'm not coming to that. They got to have somebody who's all angry and mean, who is a dude.
Yeah.
Anyway, so 9 things. So, but anyway, we went to Potawatomi, and I don't know that I've ever seen any, like, a more perfect form of addiction in my life.
Wow.
Because my dad, I was like, if you want to come with me, because I also thought it would help to encourage him to learn how to use an Uber.
Oh, sure.
Because for some reason, he doesn't want to. He was willing to learn how to use the tablet. He was willing to learn how to do any number of things, but he thinks the Uber is a waste of money and he'd rather waste his nephew's time. And, he's not wrong.
Lonely. He wants someone who's going to hang out with him. Come on.
But when he would just drive somewhere and make himself hang out. He would find other people to hang out with.
Yeah.
So we go, and I was like, so I just need to see this. And remember, he's 87.
Yeah.
So I have to drop him off and we had spent the previous day, we spent 4 hours looking for a pair of pants. He was like, my father, his idea of money is so very fluid that it's actually stealing. So he likes to switch the tags on things.
Yeah, that's retail theft. Yes.
Yes. And I did not know that personally.
Tag switching?
And that's what I was taught as a child. I did not learn it was stealing until I went to college. And then
oh my God.
I had friends in college who were like, yeah, that's not done, Jackie. And I was like, well, they're just both pants. I would have said possibly.
God. Jackie.
But that's his attitude, is that they're both a pair of pants. And you're like, yeah, but one of them is a crummy $35 pair of pants, and another one is a ridiculously crummy $8 pair of pants. So you don't get to pick which one goes on which.
You know what I'm starting?
So,
the more you explain it, the more I'm starting to side with Elliot. I mean, they're just pants. They should all cost $8.
Right. Well, so we go to Ross Dress for Less, and then we go to Marshall's, and then we go to Kohl's, and he can't find the pants he wanted at church were being worn by a 6'4" handsome man in his 40s named Jeff Tarosian.
Okay.
And he was like, "Where'd you get those pants?" And he said, and Jeff goes, and I look at him and I was like, "I don't think you like the pants, Dad. I think you want to be a 6'4", 42-year-old man." And he goes, "No, I like those pants." And I was like, "They look like dress pants that look like sweatpants, Dad. They got the zipper on them. And Jeff goes, oh, my wife bought them at Lululemon. And I said, well,
oh my God.
you're never going to go. I said, do you want to go to Lululemon? I just wanted to watch him at Lululemon freak out at $128 pants.
I want to watch the sales clerks who freak out when you're a size 12 or above. So, yeah.
Oh, right. And so my dad, we end up at Kohl's. He finds some horrible, I'm like, not those. Don't do those, Dad. And so we finally get to Kohl's. They're $35. And he's a little twitchy about it. And I said, Dad, you don't have any money. I mean, you don't have any money problems right now. You have no car. You don't have to buy gas. Splurge. Spend $35 whole on a pair of pants.
Yeah.
And so he does. And the other thing, I don't know why but the pants thing made me laugh because I stayed with my brother and one of my nephews is exactly the same size. And there had been drama with, like both of my nephews had taken my dad for pants
right
2 weeks ago because my dad is actually gaining a little bit of weight, which is good because he was very thin.
That's good.
And it's hard when you're 87.
Yes.
And so
87. Wow.
Yeah. And so I think he's going to be 88. And so my son, my nephew Eric has the exact same size pants as him. I noticed in his room that he has a stack of pants and they're all the same size.
Yeah.
And so I call Eric and look, to my knowledge, those were the pants that he didn't take with him to college in DC. And so I think he doesn't want them. So I just call him and I was like, oh my God, Eric, all of these pants are the same size that your grandpa wears. And he goes, there's this pause and Eric goes, please do not give away my pants, Jackie.
Jackie?
Yeah, I keep trying to fix things that aren't broken. And so it is yes, it is a problem that has come up. Did you, the other comedy related thing, did you see Shane Gillis's thing?
I watched his mono. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How did that go? I heard mixed. I heard some people that.
I thought it was fine. I thought it was fine. I think that room is just, that's a tough room. And I think I get the feeling they give you a lot of notes at the last second, because I remember seeing somebody else like go into an old bit and I was like, oh, maybe they just are taking shit out. I don't know. I thought I read that he bombed and I watched it and I thought it was fine. He kind of reacts like every joke isn't working. That's sort of, he's done that. Oh, he did that on the other time too. So that's sort of his style. So if people react like, oh, people will believe you. It's like, no, that's kind of how he reacts to shit.
Right. That's that old rule of stand-up is don't tell people that you're not doing well because they'll believe you.
Well, that's a lot of people's style though. A lot of people do that,
Well, I think it can be done.
Mm-hmm.
But for in general, I don't think it's a good idea unless you have that is your technique, or you can make that funny. But I've seen too many young comics just say, I'm really tired. And then the audience believes you.
Well, that's not how he does it. He's just sort of is a little more self-deprecating. So, but and
he's not a new comic.
No, but that's not how the live audience did it. But when people are watching a clip on Twitter, that's how they will. Twitter has gotten so dumb.
How is Twitter?
It's unbelievable. Jackie, I had to take down a tweet. So Luigi Mangione. Yeah. Our hero.
Chuck Mangione's cousin.
There's some account that's obsessed with, there's a lot of accounts, but I follow one of them. And apparently like the cops, something they did was a little shady when they arrested him and found the gun. Right. And this person was positing that the gun might be inadmissible. And if that's the case, they really don't have much. And so all I said is if he gets out, if he's released, he will be fucked to death. Right. Which is, I think, a funnier way of saying drowning in pussy. Right. And I don't think this is a controversial take. Everyone is obsessed with him. If you look at people talking about him on TikTok, they are volunteering blowjob tributary. Like they will do anything to fuck him, right? That's all I was saying. So
Right.
somehow, and it got nothing. And then all of a sudden, This Is Rape Twitter found it and was like, oh, you want him to be, this is rape. And I'm like, no, this is not, I'm not saying, or it was like,
No.
hey, old hag, he's not going to want you. I'm not saying me. I'm just saying, based on everything I've read, every person under 40 is horny for this guy and would fuck him. And someone else goes, you know, he can't have sex because of his back. And I'm like, look, he won't have to move at all. And that was a whole new round of rape, you know, so you're just saying he should be raped until he dies. And I'm like, I don't want this energy. So I just deleted the tweet. Oh my God, they're so stupid now.
Right.
And with one of the stupids starts posting, it attracts all of the stupids. And then
all
it's
the
just
stupids. It's like a
swarm of blue checks with not real names saying that you are a rapist. You know, it's just like, what the fuck? This is so gross.
I feel so good to not be on Twitter and TikTok, but doesn't mean I'm not obsessed with Threads and Blue Sky and Instagram.
Yeah, Blue Sky's
but I was showing you last night.
Yeah,
I was. It's loosening up. The dirtbags are showing up, so you'll have someone to fight if you want. But I will. Last night I was telling you that two of my posts in the last week have gone. One went 1.2 million, and the other one almost a million.
On Instagram?
So, on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I guess if I were going to advertise, those would be the clips I'd use.
You should boost. Yeah.
Except for I don't think I have to advertise because I'm working with Maria this week, and then I'm doing a comedy festival on the Oregon coast next week with Aparna, Hari Kondabolu, and James Adomian.
Jesus, that's killer.
I know.
That's nice.
I'm trying to figure out if anyone can carpool, but James is coming in late on Thursday and leaving on Sunday, and I guess I could go on Friday. It's supposed to be gorgeous, and it's spring on the coast. So
did you ever do that festival in Oregon? It was maybe like 10 years ago. We all sort of stayed in one resort together. Not a resort, but it was like an old house. We all stayed together.
No,
and then
you now terrify me. No. Please don't let this.
Judah Friedlander was there and a bunch of other people. And then the shows were at these not great locations. It might have been like a festival that was done like 3 times max. But it wasn't in Portland, but it was it on the it was somewhere on the coast.
On the coast or okay.
Yeah, it was a weird town you had to get to. I wonder if I have a shirt.
I did a weird festival in rural Iowa once where the venues were dive bars. And then everyone stayed at a campsite.
Was it the Tribble
except
Festival?
me?
Oh.
No, I said, I'll take a Best Western. I'll take a Motel 6. I will not stay in a cabin in the woods. I can't.
I
don't want to make s'mores with comics.
When they're like, look, we're going to make it fun. Hey, it's not fun hanging out with comics. Right?
It is fun hanging out with comics, but only when I get to pick the time and place.
And the comics.
And for 45 minutes.
Yes. But every time I go to the gym in the hotel, there's 3 comics. No, thank you. It's not what I like. Jackie, let's do our dates and get the fuck out.
We got to do a second break, and you guys promised them 10 extra minutes 2 weeks ago.
Jack,
that's right.
First of all, cut that. We've given them wall-to-wall content.
I have a story I would like to tell.
Okay.
After this break.
Oh.
Right. There we have a break. Okay, so this might interest your young man. This is so I never recorded I never filmed I'm Not the Hero of This story album.
Right.
So I was talking to Oscar winner Greg Franklin about animating it. And he is actually between jobs, so there's a possibility that he might be able to do it. So I'm going to meet with him next week, where I want him to do. He's in between projects, so it might be very expensive, and I don't know. I might actually do like a Kickstarter or something, just because I've never done a Kickstarter. I don't know if it'll work. I don't know what to do. I mean, but Andy does. I mean, all of his friends do board games on Kickstarter.
They do?
And
Oh, wow.
yeah, successfully too.
Oh,
Board games are like one of the most successful thing on Kickstarter ever.
interesting.
Yeah. And I also with my new album and special, it's supposed to be in June. June is like 2 months from now.
Yeah.
No, it's 3 months from now. But
Right.
it's whatever it is, it's too soon. I haven't hired a crew.
You made
I
up
haven't
June.
done-
Maybe June isn't right. And have
Yeah.
Comedy Dynamics just put my special out on Hulu. Now it's a year old since it came out and 2 years since I shot it.
Right.
I mean, they do put it out to a lot of different places. It takes a while.
Right.
They do
Right.
all look alike,
Right.
but it gets it out.
Right. But I don't think they're paying for it anymore.
Oh, they're not.
And I would like.
I know. I mean, they've
They've never offered
2
me
years ago.
any money, but they were paying a little bit a couple of years ago when you were doing it to different comics, including yourself, which is good. And of course, the way it ought to be done. But yeah, but what I have to do is if
They
I
will
don't
pay.
I think you're right.
But if they do it, they'll pay for it. At least, I mean, this is how horrible the business is. At least it wouldn't be coming out of your pocket.
Right. Right. I do love owning my content though. And if it's not going to be kind of a big chunk of change where I get to have, where I make an actual good amount of money, there's part of me that Maria suggested that I write down actually what I want it to be, and what I want it to look like, and what I don't want it to look like, and what I don't want it to be.
Yeah.
Just kind of a big
That's
list
a great idea.
or a couple of lists.
Yeah.
It's a really good idea. So, yeah, that was the story I wanted to tell you. Let's do our dates.
Okay.
What do you want to go first?
Oh yeah. Guess what? Despite my allegedly good career, I have no new dates to talk about. It's all the same stuff. But guess what? I'm going to pitch that shit real hard right now. April 3rd through the 5th, I'm in Lexington, Kentucky. I have always wanted to go to this club, Comedy Off Broadway. I was never either I was too West Coast or too East Coast, and I could never crack the Kentucky market. So my first time ever, I'm at Comedy Off Broadway. 11th and 12th, I'm in Ohio. I'm going right back to the same area. I will be at the Donnell Theater in Findlay, Ohio, April 11th for one show only with Al Lubell and Sean Eli. It's a charity event. And the 12th of April, I will be at the Hashtag Comedy Club in Columbus for one show only, unless it sells out. It's a 7:00 show. It's a tiny black box theater. This will be really fucking fun. I have always wanted to go to Columbus. I hear it's such a great college town. The guy that owns the bigger club there doesn't like me, and so I was like, oh, it's always out of reach. And now there's a new fucking room there. So I'm excited. I get to go to Columbus. It's called the Hashtag Comedy Club, April 12th. Make your way there. It will be a fun show. Jackie and I are at Moon Tower the 16th through the 19th of April. That's in Austin. See our shows. I am in Deadwood at a comedy festival called the Martha Canary Comedy Festival. That's Calamity Jane's real name. And I am there Saturday, May 10th for one night only. I'm at Dr. Grins in Grand Rapids, June 5th through the 7th. The following weekend, I'm at Stir Crazy in Phoenix. And that's all I have. Guys, that's all I have. My July and beyond
if you
is
have a comedy club
fucking open. It's annoying. And then this week, I will be in New York. And next week, I'll be in New York doing spots at the Stand and the Broadway and New York Comedy Club. Various locations. They have 3 rooms now. I will be posting those on Instagram and Twitter as they come up.
And so are you booked for most of the days, those 10 days?
Yes, there are 3 days where I'm going to be writing with somebody on screenplay.
That's right.
We'll see how that goes. So I decided not to do spots that night. I just didn't want to stress out about getting back to the city because I'll be commuting to Princeton every day to work
Oh,
with
nice.
this lady.
Downtown Princeton has a really good breakfast place that has excellent pancakes. She probably knows about it. Your friend.
Okay.
Anyway, I this week am doing a run with Maria Bamford, and it's Boston, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Tarrytown, New York. So you could do that. You could come and see me open for her. Working on the most interesting 25 for the new album.
You
In an
killed
effort to find-
last night. I saw you last night. I love
Oh,
your
you!
new
Oh my
stuff.
God!
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Yes.
You killed too. That was
cool.
amazing.
Yeah, it was fun.
I can't believe I forgot the last punchline of the last joke.
Oh,
That dick joke, that essentially that sex joke that I'm closing on.
yeah.
There's 2 punchlines after it.
I know. It kept going because when you started the barrel, I'm like, oh shit, I'm next. And I started looking
Right.
over my notebook again, and then it kept going. I'm like, wait, she's
Right.
She's
The
not even
barrel joke
closing on
isn't-
it anymore. What the fuck?
I'm not even closing on it anymore. I'm closing on that one, and yeah. So it is 3 married sex being in a long-term relationship jokes.
Absolutely.
Anyway, look forward to it.
That I had to follow last night.
Right. That's right. You said, I never. Laurie got up on stage and said, I have never had to follow such filth. It was very funny. So that's what I'm doing this week is I'm working with Maria. Next week, the 15th is the night that I'm doing a show in Cannon Beach, Oregon, which is on the coast. It's about 2.5 hours from Portland. I'll be driving there. I'll be driving back early on Sunday so I can go to Powell's and then not be freaked out about getting to the airport. And I'm taking a 5 o'clock flight, which is a drag, but that it's got to happen. I don't want to get up at 4 a.m. and drive to Portland.
Right.
So the 19th through the 23rd, I'm doing another run with Maria, and that's Nashville, Knoxville, Chattanooga, and Athens, Georgia.
Ooh.
And that's and that'll be interesting. And then the weekend after that, we're gonna go bury Chris's ashes up by Chico. Just a random place. No, it's gonna be in a cemetery. Anyway,
Chico.
and
Yeah, Chico's.
yeah.
Chico's Chico.
Chico, yeah, we don't. It's not. It's by Chico. It isn't Chico. Oroville is where Andy grew up.
Oroville.
Yes.
It's pretty. It's near. Isn't it near the Sacramento River?
The dam.
It's near something. Yeah, it's near water.
It's
I
a
used to
dam.
go there
It's
all
the
time.
Oroville.
Yeah.
And when the first time Andy brought me there, I said, "Give me the Norman Rockwell tour," and he said, "I only have the meth tour in my head. What do you need?" And I was like, "Well, I can give myself the meth tour." So April 4th and 5th. I'm doing, from the look of it, the 4th and 5th and 6th, I'm doing Columbus, Ohio with Maria. The 8th of April, I'm at the Throckmorton in San Francisco, in Mill Valley. This is the weird weekend where if you live in the Bay Area, but you don't live in San Francisco, you're psyched.
Jackie's
because
near you that
Hayward,
week. Yeah.
Petaluma,
Hayward.
and Sacramento. Hayward.
What's happening in Hayward?
Some gig. And that is on the 10th, I believe. So then the week after that, I am in Moon Tower. Laurie and I are going to do a live Jackie and Laurie. She has more sets than I do. I am offended.
Oh,
and I looked on the website.
Okay.
And then, but I'm going to, I assume, open for Maria at that show as well. We will find out, I guess. And then the following week is a weird Colorado, Iowa, and Missouri run with Maria. And that is the end of April. In May, there is a South Carolina North. That is the week of the 7th. I'll be doing the 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th. It's North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. And then on the 18th of May, I'm doing a synagogue in Minneapolis. And I have tried to recommend Ophir Eisenberg, but it's going to be me.
Oh, interesting. All right.
Right. And then I will be working at the end of May in Rochester, Minnesota. And and Eau Claire and Green Bay with Maria. That's at the end of May. June is I'm doing Acme in June, so look forward to that. And that's and I've updated my website up to that date. So if you go to lauriekilmartin.com, you can see her dates and buy tickets. If you go to JackieKashian.com, you can see my dates and buy tickets. And you can listen to This Is Rad, which is Kyle Clark's
Hey,
podcast.
Yes,
I'm the guy with
that's
the
right.
got the muted mic because they put my dog in the room and she's insisted on barking.
You guys, that's
is.
the extra 10 minutes.
There's the
Look what
Yay.
happened.
Yes.
Good to our word.